Please approach for the swear-to. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the information being provided is true and accurate to the best of your information, knowledge, and belief, subject to penalties of perjury?
I do.
Put your hand down. With regard to the defendant, Afani Muhammad, please set forth a factual basis for the warrant request.
Yes, Your Honor. 7/10/25, McDonald's employee Afeni Muhammad stabbed McDonald's manager Jennifer Harris multiple times with a kitchen knife at the McDonald's restaurant at 179219 Mile. Harris was not armed at the time and died of her injuries. Prior to the stabbing, Muhammad was sent home by Harris for not performing her work duties and told Harris, "I'll be back." Muhammad was arrested on scene and the knife was recovered. Muhammad admitted that she intended to kill Harris and stated that after she was sent home, she drove to a nearby park, decided to come back and stab Harris with a knife that she had inside of her vehicle. When Muhammad returned to stab Harris, she entered the back entrance with a hooded mask over her face in an attempt to conceal her identity and attempted to flee the scene after the stabbing, but was stopped by an armed customer.
And the requested charges are murder in the first degree, count 2, dangerous weapon carrying with unlawful intent, and there's a habitual second notice offense. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
The warrant is being signed and we can proceed to arraignment.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Calling file number 25354, People versus Afani Badu Muhammad. Counsel appearances for the record, please.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Sean Hagel, appearing on behalf of the people.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Please, this honorable court, Matthew McConnell, appearing on behalf of Mrs. Muhammad, who does appear with you.
Your name, please, ma'am.
Afeni Muhammad.
Very good. You're here today for arraignment on the charges of murder in the first degree, premeditated, count 2, carrying a weapon with unlawful intent, and a habitual second notice. Mr. Licata, how does your client wish to proceed?
Thank you very much, Your Honor. At this time, my client is asking the court to enter a not guilty plea. That is matter set for a probable cause conference of the preliminary exam. I have advised my client of her rights, as well as the charges against her and potential penalties. We are ready to proceed on those grounds.
Very good. Ma'am, do you understand the nature of the charges against you to your satisfaction after talking to your attorney?
Yes.
Very good. I will go ahead and enter a not guilty plea on your behalf. Are you requesting a court-appointed attorney?
Yes.
I will appoint an attorney to represent you. We'll set this matter for a probable cause conference on July 23rd, 2025 at 1 p.m. The preliminary examination will be on July 30th, 2025 at 1 p.m. As to bond, Mr. Licata.
Thank you very much, Your Honor. Just briefly, my client is 26 years old, does live in a great city at this point. Your Honor, my client is a high school graduate. In fact, is actually was taking some online classes for college for a physical therapy degree. Your Honor, there are some disturbing facts in this particular matter, but there are facts that haven't been brought out yet, and my client is extremely anxious to have those facts brought to light during the pendency of this case. She was in an extremely abusive relationship that was not only mental but physical, that involved alcohol issues, which is where the habitual second stems from, and her prior record. Your Honor, my client is a helpful person. She's a giving person. She's actually is credited with saving a life because of a 60-year-old who had skin cancer that she may go to the doctor to find out that that's exactly what it was, and that person is doing extremely well right now. I understand the facts that have been laid out today in the warrant, but at this time, Your Honor, we are asking the court to consider a bond in this manner that is appropriate, that my client can meet so that she can meet with her attorneys and prepare her defense in this manner. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of the people?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Pursuant to court rule, the court is well within its authority to grant no bond involving any case involving murder. In this case, we are requesting no bond for this defendant. Also provided within the court rules are certain factors for this court to consider when determining whether to grant any bond at all, and in this case, we are requesting no bond as I indicated. First of all, the court can consider whether or not this defendant is a threat to the community. She entered a public building with other individuals, other employees that were present. She produced a weapon that was a knife longer than 3 inches, and she stabbed the victim multiple times, up to possibly as many as 15 times, eventually causing her death. There were other employees that were present at the time, some of which attempted to help the victim after the stabbing occurred. That alone is enough to show that there is a threat to the community. She then ran from the building to her vehicle, presumably with the intent to flee from the scene. She was stopped by a helpful bystander. You're also able to consider the likelihood of conviction in this case, given the facts as laid out by Detective Showers and the information that the prosecutors have reviewed in order to charge this defendant. There is a very high likelihood of conviction. And then finally, the defendant does have a prior instance of at least one that I'm aware that involved a stabbing, similar obviously to the stabbing that occurred in this case involving a knife. So given all of those factors, and given the fact that this court does have authority to give no bond to defendants charged with murder, I am asking at this time for no bond in this case.
Thank you, counsel. The court has reviewed the charges and the circumstances surrounding this case. The defendant is facing various serious charges, including murder in the first degree, which is one of the most serious criminal offenses in our state, carrying penalties up to life without parole. Additionally, carrying a dangerous weapon with unlawful intent further underscores defendant's potential threat to public safety. Defendant has a prior criminal record. It was actually felony malicious wounding that was reduced to unlawful bodily injury concerning a stabbing, and that is what gives rise to the habitual second. And in determining bond, the court must look to the factors outlined in Michigan Court Rule 6.106. Number 1, the seriousness of the offense and the danger posed to the community. The charges here involved a violent crime with a weapon, indicating a substantial risk to the public. The court finds there is a significant threat to public safety, and therefore the bond must reflect that risk. Number 2, the weight of the evidence against the defendant. While the evidence is not fully before us and the defendant is cloaked with the presumption of innocence, the nature of the charges along with the prior criminal history suggests that there is substantial evidence against the defendant. Defendant's criminal history: the defendant has a violent criminal past. The history supports the court's concern that the defendant may engage in further violent conduct if she is released. The defendant's ties to the community: while the defendant is relatively young at 26 years of age, there's no indication that she has any significant stabilizing ties to the community that would ensure her return for court appearances. Without these ties, the court is concerned about the likelihood of flight. Number 5, defendant's risk of fleeing or failing to appear. Due to the severity of the charges and the habitual offender status, it makes the defendant a high risk for flight. The court finds that this factor weighs heavily in favor of a high bond amount. Substance abuse or mental treatment: although there are no reports at this time suggesting that the defendant suffers from mental health or substance abuse issues that would mitigate the risks posed by defendant's release, the court is, after considering all of these factors, going to be setting bond at $25 million, cash surety only, with conditions. If the defendant is able to meet those conditions, she must be on a GPS steel cuff tether. She is not to leave the state of Michigan. She is to report her address within 24 hours of, she must report any change of address within 24 hours. There would be stringent daily contact with community corrections as to her whereabouts. She also would be required to have alcohol and drug testing as condition of her release. There would be no contact with the family of the decedent. Any witnesses, she is not to return to McDonald's. And if she is unable to post the $25 million bond, she will remain in custody. See you back here, ma'am, on July 23rd at 1 o'clock for your probable cause conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.